so with that, we had started this lecture series to inform, especially the young minds, about our past and value that we hold dear, that are valuable in the current scenario as well. So and that is the gist. Now, I wanted to ask you if it's okay, can we record this conversation and post it, on the website if the recording comes out right?
Okay, there is no problem, but I will speak extempore, so there is every
Yeah, sure.
possibility
Okay,
while
all right.
speaking.
So I can,
Exaggeration
yeah.
may go on, but that may not be so correct while delivering the. But
Okay,
again,
so
okay, from my side, there is no problem.
okay, all right. So we'll record it, and then we can decide later on as well.
Okay.
So this is being
So
recorded.
how much time? How much time is there to?
I would say about 25 to 30 minutes, so that then others may want to ask some questions.
Okay.
Huh? So, Professor Rai, he would wanted to come back, and or maybe Professor Rai, I think he is having connectivity issues. Professor Rai, can you speak? Okay. Since Professor Rai, he was, he would talk about you as he speaks towards the end. So I would request you to go ahead and give your presentation, Professor Poddar.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. At the very outset, I extend thanks to the organizer for calling me on this platform. Respected Professor Narendra K. Rastogi, Director, Center for Global Business Studies, School of Business at Howard University, Washington, and other academics associated with this seminar. I'm very much delighted to be the part of this program. And as this program is being jointly organized by International Academy of Business and Divi Welfare Society, certainly it is a collaborative program of India and USA. As sir, you have told me that you are trying to use this platform for the marginalized section of the society, how the past knowledge system or the past can be, the experiences of the past can be fruitful for the coming generation. Rather, the challenges of the present situation, how the past can be helpful, whether in the field of management or any discipline. Here, I would like to share my views that I will try to share my views on the topic, the manuscripts and Indian knowledge system.
Yeah.
As manuscripts, when we talk about manuscripts are the old documents, it is handwritten documents, and usually the government of India has taken it as a code of conduct that any document which is handwritten and it is 75 years old, that becomes the manuscript. So if you look into the definition of the manuscript, certainly we have in India manuscript from ancient time to the modern times. Any manuscript handwritten beyond 70 years is a manuscript. Manuscript is called manuscripts. And in that way, when we talk about our Indian knowledge system has been defined recently by one of the management professor of Bangalore, Professor B. Mahadevan, and Professor Binayak Rajat Bhatt from Chanakya University. He says that in his book, the book is Indian Knowledge System, is Concepts and Application. And in that book, he says that Indian knowledge system uh, is a uh, is a traditional knowledge system spread in different branches of culture and evolved through thousands of years. And in that way, he has tried to define Indian knowledge system uh, in a very spontaneous way, where he says that Indian knowledge system, I do believe, is cyclic in nature. It is based on cyclic theory in contrast to the linear theory. And cyclic theory states that society has life cycle and birth, growth, maturity, and decline. Modern society is in the last stage. It is in its old age, but since history repeats itself, society, after passing through all the stages, returns to the original stage, where the cycle again begins. Hindu mythology, according to Hindu mythology, the Satyug will start after Kaljug is over. J.B. Bury, in his book The Idea of Progress, too talks about the same thing. Ernol J. Toynbee, a noted English historian, talks about that cyclic theory of the history of world civilization. And he maintained that civilization passes through three stages corresponding to youth, maturity, and decline. The first stage is marked by response to challenge. The second stage is time of trouble, and stage is characterized by graded degradation. Social change is not always for the better. So societies may grow, advance, reach the peak stage of development, and then may stagnate and finally collapse with the potential for the rising again. While linear theory is evolutionary, which means that it is always moving towards better result until perfection is reached. When I'm talking about Indian knowledge system, it means that the knowledge of the Indian past, how it can be useful for the present. And then we do believe that our old knowledge at the time of Satyug to Treta Yug to Dwapar to Kaljug, this cyclic theory, the knowledge system during the ancient time was excellent because the life was full of balance approach between man to nature, man to man. And there was least problem. The society was homogeneous, and in terms of happiness, in terms of peace, life was highly satisfactory in true sense of the term. So when there was no problem, it was excellent in nature. Certainly, we can say that that society is the understanding of every civilization. But again, with the passage of time, the decline starts, and today we have many problems today in terms of we don't have peace in the society despite the fact the scientific development we are enjoying, but the peace of mind, the man-to-man relation is lost. Under this cyclic theory where Indian knowledge system is based, we are trying to look into how the Indian knowledge which was inherent in the manuscript, how that manuscript can be helpful to reconstruct, to bring back uh, the best practices that was there during the ancient time. And in that way, the knowledge, the manuscripts are most important. I would like to share how the manuscripts of the Indian knowledge system was written, their types, their composition. So some few slides I would like to share. And in that way, you will be happy to know that how Indian knowledge system is so much rich in terms of manuscript. If you look into the manuscripts written during the ancient time of different shapes and sizes, just if you look into the
You can share the slides. The
yeah, yeah,
share screen
yeah,
should
yeah,
be in
yeah.
the middle.
Um, yeah, these are the the what the manuscript contains, the content of the.
Right now, we are not seeing anything. Yeah, it works.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Internet connection is unstable. That's why. Huh.
Oh, okay.
What's this down?
Yeah, we are seeing your slide.
Yeah. Ek, so this slide is visible, sir.
It was, and now it's not.
Yes, yes, it is coming. Here
Yeah.
the internet is.
Go ahead, share again.
Yeah. So these are the subjects of the manuscripts of India. The
Yeah.
indigenous medicine, you will find the information regarding the Siddha, the Ayurveda, the Unani settlement, human autonomy manuscript, you will get the information. Veterinary science and agriculture, you will get. And then you have traditional art and architecture, where you will find the temple art, temple architecture, shipbuilding, carpenting, metal working, sculpture, traditional mythology, techniques of writing, and astrology and astronomy, yoga, animal husbandry, and martial arts. Just you see the how the manuscripts are rich with the contents of the knowledge. Again, now the types of support, how many types of, the how manuscripts are, where the manuscripts are found. The manuscripts are written in the palm leaf, in the birk bark, in the sanchi pad, in the bamboo leaves, in the banana leaves, cloth, parchment, and ivory. On these substances, the manuscripts are available. They are written on these support systems. When the paper was invented, then we have the handmade paper and the machine-made paper. We have manuscript written in handmade paper and the machine-made paper also. Now you will see the palm leaf manuscript. Just you see how it looks like. This is the picture of palm leaf manuscript. Then you come to the next, the Bhoj Patra. Just you look into how the manuscripts are there. And then the third one is the Hansi Patra. Just you look into. Then the Hansi Patra are found mainly in the Northeast India, where I am here. And this is the handmade paper. This manuscript is written, and then we have the manuscript with this handmade paper are found in all over the country. And then we have the machine made paper. You can see the manuscripts. And then I am going to give you some the manuscripts of it looks very aesthetic. How our manuscripts of India are so beautiful. Just you see the manuscript on parchment, the skin of the animals. Just you look into, and then the next one, the manuscript on ivory. Just on ivory, the handwritten materials contents are found. Just you look into, and then you will find manuscript on metal also, how the people have written on the metals. And then manuscripts on the bamboo leaf, the manuscript handwritten information are there. Then we have manuscript on cloth also. Just you look into manuscript on different size. Now you see the beauty of manuscript in different size and shapes. Just you see, this is the piece-shaped manuscript. It is beautiful. It is not just the information. It looks very good. It is a scroll. You can put this kind of thing in the drawing room also. So it serves the beautification of the room as well as the knowledge content too. Just you look into the third beautiful things of manuscript. It is a Shiva Lingam temple. Just ling size. Every Hindu house we have the ling, and then manuscript in this size certainly attracts everyone. So the aesthetics and the philosophy together comes in the manuscript hanging type. You put this kind of manuscript can be hanged in the drawing room. So this is the another type of manuscript. And then the smallest Quran is written in such a form of manuscript, very beautiful. And then look into the manuscript from Ladakh. We have received such kind of thing. And then the another musical instrument like accordion shaped manuscripts are there. And then you just see the garland shaped manuscript. It is not simply the garland. Here in every seats of the garland, you will find the handwritten information are there. So garland gives the information about our past culture and past information. This is the T-shaped, shirt-shaped manuscript. No one can believe that T-shirt contains the knowledge content, and that was our Indian culture. And this is the illustrated manuscript, the photo size manuscript. Just to look into how the precious this photography is there, so that we get the manuscript in a pictorial form also. The farmans you can see from different times, the rulers used to issue farmans, and that comes in the form of manuscript also. And then writing instruments, how the manuscripts were written. We have some instruments also, just to let the people know how such kind of things in a small size things are, the manuscripts are written by the scribe. Just these are the instruments. And just this is also the instrument, and this is the box where the manuscripts are kept, just to preserve, just for preservation and conservation. This is the safest way how the manuscripts in the red cover it is put into. And then we do believe that the manuscripts are our cultural heritage, and if we have to save the culture, we have to save the manuscript. This is the slogan. This kind of the commitment we people feel that manuscripts are not simply the knowledge content. In order to keep the past intact for coming generation, we have to save manuscript in all the ways. So these are the things I have just make the people know what types of manuscript and how it is related to Indian knowledge system. Now I'll go to the analytical part. What is the need of the manuscript when we talk about, when we say the manuscript's knowledge contents and from ancient time to the modern time? If you look into the manuscripts are written in Sanskrit language, and the way the language developed, we have the manuscripts of different language from ancient time to medieval time. And from Sanskrit, if you look into the Vedas, the Puranas, all these knowledge value loaded, our scriptures of the past. If you look into that gives not only the past value system, we find that the Indian knowledge system written in the manuscript are the guidance for the coming generation. I'm talking about 2 or 3 important things because it is organized by the management department, and the manuscripts of the past where the management part is written. And in that way, if you look into the calculation of calendar, the calculation of time during the ancient manuscript, you will find that the 12 month having 6 seasons, and the agricultural production was not based on the choice of the people. Rather, it was based on the month when and at what time, at what muhurt that agricultural production will be more. And that was our Indian knowledge system during the knowledge we get from the Vedas. So if you look into the one important information I am giving you, the British economist has given one important information that till 15th century, from 0 to 15th century, the Indian production, agricultural production, rather the GDP of the whole world, the 2.4% of the world GDP, that was, the India was contributing to the entire world, and the strength was agricultural production. So from 0 to 15th century, it was the agricultural management, the Indian knowledge system based agriculture where the production was maximum, and India was the only country in the entire world where the contribution of India in the field of agriculture, where you can find the coastal trade during the ancient time, even the Gupta period, the golden age of Gupta, that was the mark how our production from India that was going on in different parts of the world. So the agricultural production led the industrial production. It was high because of the fact that the knowledge of the production, it was coming from our different scriptures, different, the cultural contour that was prevalent in the manuscripts of India. And in that way, you will find the seasons, the best time when the production can be made. I'm talking about one important thing, particularly the Vedic civilization, where the Indian planning, the town planning of today, where we find how the buildings are constructed in no time. We don't give the guarantee of their strength or the strength of any building. But if you look into the management, the town planning of the Harappan civilization, it was well planned, and that was that kind of information we get from manuscripts. The drainage system, and if you look into the architectural, the mathematical equation, the management of the construction of the statue, the dancing girl of the Harappan civilization. It was not simply the calculation of math, rather how the aesthetics was introduced in the mathematical world. What I wanted to indicate that the manuscripts has given information not only in management but in different branches of India, in different branches of life. We find the sociology, the architecture, the temples which we have today. And if you find temples from ancient to modern time, this continuum is there. And temple was not simply the place of worship, rather it was the place of, the livelihood. It was a place of planning. It was a place where we find the how economic structure, the economic activity is related to the temple planning, the aesthetic approach that was there, the architecture that was there. Rather, the temple of the ancient past, that description we get from the manuscript, it is a continuum. I am giving you one example in case of Tripura in India, where I am staying, and I am talking about the manuscript. When we are talking about manuscript of India, the cultural contour. This Tripura is a small place in the northeast India of India, and if you look into the manuscript of Tripura, how it has contributed, understanding the past in order to solve the problem of the present. Tripura is a small place where we people, the tribal and the non-tribal, the basic issue, they are fighting to each other. Now I am just making such kind of hypothesis, how my past can solve the ethnic issues that is there in the present time. We can cite, the example from the past, where we find a small state like Tripura. If you look into the north, we find the art sculpture, and the manuscript is Rajmala. Rajmala is one of the important manuscripts that is available. We have Rajmala in Sanskrit, we have Rajmala in Bengali, we have Gajinama, we have Srinimala, we have Krishnamala. All these manuscripts, if you look into, we get the information. The cultural contour of Tripura, the north, where we have the third eye of Lord Shiva that is there in the art sculpture in the stone. So the Saivite cult is there in the north. And if you look into the South Tripura, we find the Buddhist archaeological findings we have there. So north is there in the Saivite, and the south is Buddhist. And in between, we will find the people in the central part of Tripura. We have, the mixture of the both, the 19 tribes of Tripura, and this the Hindu cults. If you look into the relation between the tribal and the non-tribal, if you can establish the tribals, the relation with the past of the tribes, they are basically from the same origin, and their belief system we have analyzed sociologically and anthropologically too. The kind of practices, the kind of rituals that is performed in the tribal society, and these construct, the Buddhist construct. We have three tribes, the Chakmas, the Monks. These two tribes, they are the follower of the Buddhist. So we can correlate the Chakmas and Chakma and Monks like tribes if they are the believer of the Buddhism, certainly the Buddhism can be linked with the tribes. Certainly, the Buddhist philosophy, we have tried to look into the the manuscript, and I have seen, I have gone through, I have access in my university too, the Buddhist manuscripts I have gone through, and that clearly established the narration that Buddhist people basically are based on they use the medicine of not, the Ayurvedic, they believe in the herbals, the medicinal plants, and with that they try to cure every kind of disease. So the medicinal values, the medicinal practices that was prevalent in the mock society. They talk about love, they talk about non-violence. And so, and in true sense, we find the Chakmas are very cool, very peace-loving people. So if the manuscripts can be used linking, the society with the other, the dominating community like Bengali, we find that the present tussle, the manuscript past can be linked, connected with the present, and in that way, that ethnic diversity or ethnic union, the harmony between tribal and non-tribal, that can be solved by establishing the manuscript for the common people. The study of manuscript can bring together the two community. And here I am trying to emphasize that the history written by the colonial historians like Mackenzie, Alexander Mackenzie, it talks about these tribals, they are naked, they do not have the sense of civilization. That was the wrong information the colonial historian has given, like Alexander Mackenzie. But if you look into the manuscripts, we find their glorious past of the tribal people, the people of the land. Certainly here the manuscript help us and rather try to negate the narratives of the colonial people, the colonial historians. And here lies the way where we can see how the manuscripts are helpful. Particularly, I am looking into in case of Tripura, and that is true in the other parts of country also, other parts of the world also. Because ignoring the past, sometimes we find that we don't have a sufficient knowledge, and that knowledge is not taught in today's syllabus. I'm talking about language. When the manuscripts are written in Sanskrit, and if you look into the Sanskrit impact in the manuscript and today's language of the course and curriculum, the richness of the Sanskrit gives the richness of the understanding of the past things. The English has a very few vocabularies, and if you look into the manuscripts, we find that the word of the Sanskrit has it does not give the specific the meaning of that word. One word has different meanings according to their nature of the property of the things, and in that way, and that richness is not there in the English. I'm giving you one example. Water means water. But if you look into the Sanskrit manuscript, where the water has been used in different connotation, if you use need is not, when you use need, certainly it is a moving water. It is not a stagnant water. So that is the, the word of the Sanskrit, how it is meaningful in terms of the characteristics that is there. So the characteristic based meaning we have in the Sanskrit. So that richness, simply the one word is of the English is madam, M-A-D-A-M. If you start from left to right and from right to left, it is the same meaning, M-A-D-M, and from right to left, M-A-D-M. But in Sanskrit language, that is not there. It is highly flexible. So if you look into the Sanskrit, the manuscripts written in Sanskrit, it has a wider dimension. And recently it has been established that the grammar of the Sanskrit, which understands the language of 0 and 1, the computation, the artificial intelligence. So Indian knowledge system, which are inherent in order to understand the basic problems of the modern society where people are suffering. I think the digitization, the digital world, where we are going to address the issues to solve any problem of the society. I think the Indian knowledge system written in Sanskrit, that will be a great help to every people across the whole world. And India in that way is rich in terms of Sanskrit manuscript that is there in the ancient time, or the even the time, the different texts that we had of the ancient value system. So if you remember the quality of the manuscript, we find that in manuscripts, one of the important characteristics of manuscript is, rather, if you analyze the entire content of the manuscript, we find that manuscript talks about concrete to abstract. But it goes from concrete, it starts from the reality, and it ends into the abstract phenomena. And abstract, when any idea goes to abstract, it becomes, the true for everyone. Abstract knowledge is the basic knowledge when we go to. It starts from materialism and it goes from idealism. The materialism is our daily cult. Everyone is having such kind of cult, materialistic life. But if can be end in the idealistic phenomena, the Indian knowledge system talks about in that way. So that is the beauty of the Indian knowledge system. And in the same way, the Indian knowledge system in terms of science and technology that was there in the Indian text, and particularly in case of Tripura too, we find that where we have across a lot of manuscripts in Tripura too, the Indian knowledge system richness in terms of agriculture, the particularly I have seen the water management, which is most important. Most of the countries are suffering from a scarcity of water, but the water management that is there in the manuscript, particularly in the tribal society of Tripura, we find we are to learn many things that are there in the Rajmala and the old manuscript. How you can be happy, you can preserve the water for the coming generation, for the time when people do not have excess water. So the water management, we talk about irrigation for agriculture. So if you look into the construction of dams, construction of water tunnels during the Chandragupta period, the manuscripts of the ancient time particularly has given the scope to understand the irrigation, the importance of irrigation in order to produce more agricultural production. So again, the agricultural knowledge of mathematics, knowledge of science and technology, the literature which gives the knowledge of computation, which is used in the artificial intelligence. I think whatever the natures of, we have manuscript in the ancient value system, particularly in India and different parts of India. I think India of tomorrow and world of tomorrow, certainly where we have the problem of conflict, the conflict management, that is one of the important thing, and the conflict management can be seen in the Bhagavad Gita, where we have the better management. If you talk about management, when the two people are making a war, how the cordial society, how harmony can be established. We have that kind of concept in our ancient manuscript system. So if it is the need, the conflict-free society is the need of the hour, I do feel that manuscripts are there to make the people know how things can be made easy, just to revive the past by going through the manuscripts. Everything is not, time is most important. Whatever is written in the manuscript, certainly the things goes in a very changing way. So everything which is good in the past, everything which is acceptable in the manuscript, certainly that should be taken into account, because one of the limitation of the manuscript is that it is the self-expression of the individuals. The individual's opinion vary from person to person. So it requires counter-checking, verification of the facts of the manuscripts. But even then, the manuscripts of the ancient, manuscripts of the medieval time, and manuscripts of the modern time, it requires revisit, it it requires review, and in order to understand the past with the present, anything of the present is the continuum of the past events, whether it is the agriculture or industry or any kind of ideological build-up. Nothing happens in a space. It is in a continuous process, and Indian knowledge system of the past can be utilized in order to revisit the problems of the modern society in order to reconstruct the better future for coming generations. This is my opinion, and I'll be happy to get any kind of observation from our academics across the world joining this kind of program. Thank you very much.
So, thank you very much, Professor Poddar. Where in the libraries, Nalanda and others.
Yeah, Nalanda, our ancient university like Nalanda, where thousands of manuscripts were burned by Bakhtiyar Khilji, and that was a great loss of the Indian knowledge system. And we do feel that our cultural heritage in form of manuscript of the Nalanda, we have lost.
I think Professor Rai, his system was acting up. I don't know if he's still on. Professor Rai? Yeah, I think, I'm sorry, Professor Rai's system is acting up. But Professor Rai, no problem, Professor Rai. So this was Professor Rai. He's a former Vice Chancellor of Inverness University. So he was to, he's back. Professor Rai, you want to continue? Professor Rai? Looks like
one comment.
Yeah, can you switch off your video so maybe be able to speak?
So that science and technology.
Professor Rai, stop your video so that your bandwidth will support the audio.
I have very
You are on mute now. Please stop your video.
Yeah. That is modern technology.
I'm really sorry. We are not able to communicate with Professor Rai. So if you have any questions, please start, and in the meantime, I might connect with Professor Rai. Anyone who has any questions?
Are you able to listen to me?
Yeah, we are able to listen to you now.
Yeah. The modern science and technology has the link to ancient India, and it has influenced the if they time can give about how the subject is how the knowledge system has industrial form of science and technology.
Professor Rai, your system is very unstable. We are very able to hear you. So I would request that Veer, are you online?
Yeah, I'm
Right now, you are not able to hear you. Veer, are you online?
then just
Hello? All right. I'm sorry. Does anyone have any
go
questions
ahead.
or assess of that? If not, Professor Poddar, it's a very interesting presentation, and we would request you to submit for inclusion in one of our journals, Journal of Innovative Education Strategies at least. So we really appreciate if you would take the time to write up your thoughts. It's very interesting how looking at the whole system, one can see even the quality of production that they are besides the knowledge. And you very right quoted English medicine. Hello, go ahead, you were saying something.
Yes, you're right, sir. That is what is important.
You very right quoted as to how the Indian system was had one world GDP in 180 and was 27% in 1500 and then came down to 3% when we got independence. But the thought process you started talking about, especially as it related to agriculture and to relations between communities, that was something very new and informative, at least for me. So I thank you very much. We would definitely, enjoy including it in our Journal of Innovative Education Strategies. If you can take the time to write it up as an invited article. And I thank you very much for taking the time and accepting our invitation to make the presentation. So thank you very much. If anyone else has any comments, please go ahead. If not, we conclude this session. And thank you very much, Professor Poddar. He is Vice Chancellor, and would love to have him as a keynote speaker at our next conference. So
Thank you, sir.
thank you.